Good day everyone, this is Ahnjeli Joyce Sapatua from BSC 1-6. Today we're going to tackle about the social reality of crime, left realism. Let's define first what is social reality of crime. Under the theory of the social reality of crime, crime is held to be a legal definition of human conduct created by agents of the dominant class in a politically organized society. So, do you agree with that? That the legal definition of human is crime. Like for example, we as a human, our personality, our behavior is defined as a crime. But this is only created by agents of the dominant class. Thus, definition of crime are composed of behaviors that conflict with the interests of the dominant class, which has the power to translate its interests into public policy. For behavioral patterns in connection with a crime, it is the crime that rooted from our behavior. Definitions of crime are terms applied by the class that has the power to shape the enforcement and administration of criminal law. Crime is not only committed by a low-class society but also high-class society who has the power to commit a crime. The probability person will develop actions patterns with a high potential for being defined as criminals depends on structured opportunities, learning experiences, interpersonal associations, and identification and self-conceptions. An ideology of crime is constructed and diffused by the dominant class to secure its hegemony. The social reality of crime is thus constructed by the formulation and application of definitions of crime, the development of behavior patterns in relation to these definitions, and the constructions of an ideology of crime. So when we say ideology, it is collections of beliefs and ideas that shape a person's behavior and perception of the world. Like for example, if how our parents shape us, either if it's good or bad. So now let's talk about the two types of problem population. This is also part of social reality of crime. So the first one is social junk, a group that fails to participate in the roles supportive of capitalist society. Now, I have here an example of social junk. The homeless people in the street, the one who are asking for help, food, and money. They are the one that is dependent in the government. And the second one is social dynamite, a group with the potential to call into question established relationships, especially relations of production and domination. So I have an example for this. This is the one. These are the protesters. Because of their common characteristics and interests, they make protests about something, their complaints about the government. So in everything that we do, there's a lot of scenario that we are able to commit a crime to sustain our living. So now let's proceed to the next topic, which is left realism. So what is left realism? Left realism emerged in criminology from critical criminology as a reaction against what was perceived to be the left's failure to take a practical interest in everyday crime, allowing right realism to monopolize the political agenda on law and order. Left realist is related to Marxism and the new criminology, but tries to focus on finding practical ways of solving crime, as it claims that these two theories are too idealistic and have unrealistic about how to solve crime. I have here a diagram about 3 causes of crime, left realism, 3 ways of controlling crime, improving policies, evaluation of realism. What does realism believe? Left realists believe the main causes of crime are marginalization, related deprivation, and subcultures, and emphasize community-oriented programs for controlling and reducing crimes. So, let us talk about it one by one. So first, relative deprivation. Crime is not caused by poverty itself, but by the resentment of the poor at how little their income matches their expectation. So with that, the concept of relative deprivation helps to explain the apparent paradox of increasing crime in the context of an increasing wealthy society. Although people are better off today, they have a greater feeling of relative deprivation because of the media and advertising have raised everyone's expectations for material possessions. We are wealthier but we feel poorer, and thus there is more pressure to get more stuff to keep up with everyone else, which generates historically high crime rates. So the second one is subculture. Groups in society possess their own values as a response to their own problems and priorities. Uh, there are many different subculture adaptations to black opportunities, and not all result in crime, but those subcultures which still subscribe to mainstream values of material wealth but lack legitimate opportunities to achieve these goals. So the third one is marginalization. Certain people find themselves economically and politically on the edge of society. They are not listened to, have and no power to influence society. The only way they can be heard is through protest and riot. So by contrast, unemployed youth are marginalized. They have no specific organization to present. They have no specific organization to represent them and no clear set of goals, which results in feelings of resentment and frustrations. Having no access to legitimate political means to pursue their goals, frustration can become expressed through violence. Now let me show you who developed left realism. Jack Young, Matthew, and John Leah. So I have here an advantages of left realism. It says succeeded in drawing attention to the reality of street crimes and its effects, see crime as a real problem and aim to find the roots of the problem. And I also have the disadvantage. Interactionists argue that because left realists rely on quantitative data, they cannot explain offenders' motives. Real meanings need to be revealed with the qualitative data. Relative deprivation cannot fully explain crime as not all those who experience it commit crime. Theory over-predicts the amount of crime. It focuses on high crime inner city areas, gives an unrepresentative view, and makes crime appear as though it is a greater problem than it actually is. Use of subcultural theory means LRS assumes that there is a value consensus and that is the crime only occurs when this breaks down. These are my references. And yeah, that's all. So this is all about the social reality of crime, left realism, and I hope you learned something. So thank you.
Don't do the crime if you can't do the time.